It's just like it. Well, Kevin Forrest here is thanks.
Cheated.
Oh, is it? I think it's needed.
Well, thank you everyone. Fast before I start, I'm just gonna please.
Die. Get that one. The button. What? We can.
Welcome everyone. In the meeting.
You can link to spread it.
As well as thank you to the TDA, thank you Anna for having us and letting us speak about this very exciting topic that the market is be the new DD. Let me see. I hope this is starting again, but so let me start that. So yes, so I'm here to speak about Brandenburg. So I deliberately say Brandenburg because such as Frankfurt, we're not just talking about city of Frankfurt, we're talking about the region. And when we refer to Berlin, it is Berlin and the Brandenburg area as well. So if anyone's in Brandenburg, it's here just of defendant, it's up for us, we're learning, but it's just a little reason throughout the presentation. So what we want to do today together is really look at the market and give you a little bit of a heads that a lot of people ask for. It's like Vergis has one of the key players in the UK and recent tasks to grow our fixed trends in the Netherlands. And frankly, we've been the national choice. And now why did we choose Berlin? And if you look at some statistics, I mean, that's just the first couple of hours that our team, which is also here to support me today, we've been looking together and been like, here, where do we want to go? Of course, we're looking at a lot of the major markets, but then we looked at the flat market, we looked at the growth, and you look at these statistics, which are from numbers of CBRE, General Net Frank, putting it all together. So we've compared them to see, getting the two sources kind of we've seen that. Even if we look a little bit back from 2015 until today, flat market has doubled. If we look at the statistics from 2018 to 2025, they're going to double again, right? So there's a huge growth that everybody has been seeing in this area. And we're here at Germany Days in this session to talk about Germany. We can very proudly say that Frankfurt is the fastest growing market. And I've already heard multiple times today in the previous panels and discussions is we know saying Germany, so this is the Berlin is the second cloud region that is emerging, and Germany is the only European data center like it that is actually having 2 mega regions. Plus, as we just heard before by Giuliano, is also very, very prominent from that perspective. So definitely the right country to be in. So that is a take from some for us to say, okay, where do we want to go next? And of course, we find the right place, the right investment in Frankfurt, of course we would do it. But we wanted to see, okay, where is there still potential? What is the market that is still growing? If we look in Berlin, the top, the green line, until 2019, 20, it's not much going on, a few megawatt, not even a few, really little. And then as of 2021, it started slowly growing. And we've seen from the presentation from Michael before that we have already that today we're roughly around 100 megawatts that are being that are being shared, that are being developed. Our great development service just shared for that top of the are not in the statistics yet. So that green line is going to see growing even more. And what is in this most message, if you look at the CAGR from 2018 to 2025, Berlin is set to have a growth of almost 30%. And not many markets out there that have that. So that could our interest, right? So then we go to the next phase where we did our homework. What makes this area so interesting, right? So Berlin, if we look at it at the beginning, everybody was like, oh, it's just going to be in, some little, overspill from Frankfurt. And literally, we started our theory like that too. We started looking at energy capacity in Frankfurt. We started looking at, how much supply is there and how much of that is going to stay in Germany and use the second region. It was the natural thought. But as we were, going more and more working through our business case, we realized, actually, Berlin is a market on its own. And what makes it so interesting is that there's a large foreign direct investment going on in Berlin. Look at Tesla, the mega gigafactory that they're growing. If you look at our biggest hyperscale customers, they've all announced their presence in the past couple of years in Berlin, and some actually quite prominent. Google this year just announced that and went really big to want to make Berlin actually their major main market for their local cloud. So as we're visitors, that we want to follow our customers, right? So there's all the clues already there, and then it's not only the hyperscalers. The government as well, right? So Berlin being the capital of Germany, there's the presence from the need from governments also for data centers, but not only from that perspective, it's also the support, right? So if we look at let's say the chasms we were talking, I've read that before, saying the brand of the data center industry, right? Berlin is learning, right? Is learning what is a data center. We were, as we were approaching and talking to the local municipalities, we really went in there and we educated them. And to those points, so Fit, you mentioned that, it's not just about the waste heat, of course, that came up, but it was what can we bring to the community. And I say that we're actually really, really excited, as we were educating them, what is a data center, what is the benefit that it brings to the community, also from a monetary perspective, and the investment perspective, but also for developing talents with them, bringing more infrastructure, bringing more entities into the market. So, and also what I also find is if anybody who read the Berlin Coalition Agreement, there's actually, let me quote that because I didn't know about that, but they said data centers are the lifelines of the digitized world. The space required for them must be made available in the city. And this is coming from the Berlin government, right? So we are to see that they are outstanding and they see the importance of data centers in that region. So that was also tick for our perspective, saying it's a very interesting region for us to go and invest into. Then also asked me, as that just happened, working with the local municipalities, but also with the economic department and ministry in Brandenburg. They actually have a dedicated team as looking after data centers. Not many, ministries have that yet, and that's also showing that they really see the potential of data centers investment in that area. Right. Well, we've heard a lot about AI just now, so don't want to repeat myself. But Berlin is one of the most central hubs in Europe for AI. It follows London and Paris, and therefore we see that it's one of those hotspots, not only from a for a data center perspective, because that's just starting, but for AI and machine learning development. There you have a very, very vibrant tech scene. You have numerous startups and research institutes in that area. There's the Hasso-Plattner Institute for South in Potsdam, and that has a dedicated team that for machine learning, and is developing engineers in that for that field. So especially when we're looking at where would we develop AI, maybe after Frankfurt, I think Berlin definitely has all of the potential to become one of the central hubs in that perspective. Then also one of the point the proximity to Eastern Europe and the Baltics. So to look at just from a geographical point of view, and there is also a reason why Berlin and Brandenburg is one of the leading logistic hubs in Europe. It's because of the roads, of the connectivity. It's basically the connection point between the West and the East. And as we're still going through political challenges, with the Ukraine war, for example, Berlin is, for foreign direct investment, given its proximity to these countries, a good connectivity. Also, it can be, as we would kind of call it, for those regions. The Eastern European regions are continuing to grow as well, but we are seeing, some movement towards Berlin and other cities because of that. Then the pretty obvious, I would say, it's the availability of land and power. So some might say it's difficult. Yes, it is difficult to find the right plot in the city of Berlin. Well, I also just heard that before. There are a lot of brownfields, right, that need redevelopment. Berlin is more than happy for anyone who wants to come and invest in that area and make it also a little bit more pretty and social in that perspective. But if you look at Brandenburg, it's massive, right? And there's a really big connectivity in Paris, right? If you compare it, for example, more to the south towards Munich, much more difficult to build a data center there from a landscape point of view as in the very, very flat north of Germany. And also the 5G connectivity, as already mentioned, that before is already pretty good. But as I also just went for that, if the data connectivity to the plots that you're looking at is not there, that's not a deal breaker, right? But the main infrastructure already exists there. There's also proximity to the Berlin Stock Exchange, which makes it very interesting for me with a connectivity point of view. And then one point that I personally find very, very interesting is the international skills workforce and the opportunity to get good talents in that area. I think that's one of the key problems that we're seeing in the Frankfurt area, as we are growing and, trying to get, if you look at the demand that is in Frankfurt, we can build great data centers and have all the land, all the power, but if we don't have the skilled workforce, we can't fund them. And Berlin is actually very attractive for, young international workforce. So, therefore, I mentioned before that there's a Hasso-Plattner Institute. There's also SAP has an innovation center in Potsdam. There's a lot of international, courses in universities, some of that's attracting, young talent from all over the world. If you go to the learning banquet, you don't even have to speak German, right? So I think that's also probably for a very international sector as data centers. It gives us a good opportunity to invest and be able to create the talents that we need to mine these data centers. Then, the green metropolis. I actually didn't make this up. It is a nickname for Berlin, actually for the Berlin city. And it is the greenest metro in all of Europe. And for various reasons. But I think the main thing we wanted to focus on here and looking on also when we looked at it, the power perspective, right? So there is a lot of power. I mean, always just the infrastructure there, connecting, getting power from A to B. That's not always there. But what makes Brandenburg and Berlin so interesting is the availability of green power. So they see statistics from the Minister of Brandenburg, actually. So if we look at Brandenburg, so this is excluding Berlin. Well, I don't think Berlin has not many wind turbines, but Brandenburg, it has 3,800 wind turbines that produce 7.2 gigawatts of green power. And this is already data that was a little bit older, so it has been increasing. And there is also a plan to increase it to 10 gigawatts in the next couple of years. Photovoltaic is also kind of not just Strauss area and areas that have more, but still there's already about 50,000 photovoltaic on a place. They're producing about roughly 5 gigawatts in that area in Berlin-Brandenburg. And also biogas is, has about 515 biogas and biomass plants in the area that are already producing about 445 megawatts of electricity. So there is about a green power in that area, and the most surprising thing is that a lot of that green power isn't used. Why? Because the infrastructure that is planned to protect or transmit that power throughout Germany isn't planned and hasn't developed yet. So when we started talking to the municipalities there, one of the main arguments for them was like, great, we're going to have the 300 megawatts data center here that can take offtake the power that is available, the green power from that is generated from the wind turbines. So it's really about looking about the corners and understanding, talking to the municipalities and it's like, what is it that you're looking for? How can we help you so you can help us? So when we start having, we have 2 developers in Berlin that we belong to, we're announcing. So we have one in Berlin City at the Marienpark Park, and we have the mega sites in Bustermarkt, so 300 megawatts incoming that we're planning to build out there. And in both space development, actually there weren't any massive major pushbacks from the perspective of saying, it's too big or what are you planning. On the contrary, the municipalities have been very, very supportive. They are really looking forward to our investment, our development in it. And also we've been able to even convince the people, living in the municipalities, so not just the mayors and everything of this world, but actually the people who are worried about, it's going to be too loud, it's going to, be ugly. One of the main spins really was, how is it going to look? Right? But by actually actively working with them, reaching out to people, being engaged from the start, having open mechanisms to that perspective, we found that actually that is very, very easy and welcoming to put our first footprint in Berlin. So, I haven't talked already about the PM already to win a global. Just quickly, an overview again. I know this is a little bit outdated, but some stats from CBRE on where we have already seen the data centers today. You see the green dots are the virtuous campuses that we are planning, and roughly from a forecast perspective, we were. I know there are some other developments that are planning that might increase the number from the 2 million megawatts that are expected by 2020. But if you were to 300 megawatts, and about 300 megawatts I cheat because it's both of our campuses, so the one in Cap and Bustermarkt together. Alone without Hesselstad, we would be doubling the capacity by 2026 in Berlin. So thank you very much. I hope that my vote here was close to, promote and let you know about versus who we are for the one growers already. But actually make a statement that B is the END. And hopefully we will also be seeing more of you in that area, because it is definitely a very exciting market that we will be going into from a decent perspective.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. As I finished the young constitution,
So I think the here investments growing, we're talking about black and not about slab and
absolutely.
But just one final question. I mean, you're building next to one of the largest 380 kV substations. So from a resiliency point of view, this is, of course, great. This substation's been around for decades. Everyone knew it. And I think a lot of others were trying to acquire the site there. What is your recipe of success? How did you get this, let's say, diamond piece?
I would say people. it doesn't matter if you make cakes and sell them, or if you trying to build data centers. It is reaching out to the people, being local, and actually building relationships. Without that, we wouldn't have reached the goal of this development.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Christina. Great. I could do this, but this is actually a perfect head over to the next panel.